In Genesis 34, the story of Jacob and his family is marked by an episode of great tension and tragedy in Shechem. Dinah, the daughter of Jacob and Leah, goes to visit the women of the city and is seen by Shechem, the prince of the region, who takes her and rapes her. After the act, Shechem feels a strong attraction to Dinah and wants to marry her, asking his father Hamor to negotiate the marriage. Hamor then goes to Jacob and his sons, proposing an alliance between the families and offering lands, cattle and benefits. Jacob's sons, indignant and furious at the treatment suffered by their sister, respond with deceit. They agree to the marriage, but on the condition that all the men of Shechem be circumcised, since they could only marry someone from another family that shared the same alliance. Hamor and Shechem accept the proposal, and all the men of the city are circumcised. However, while the men of Shechem are still weakened, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, enter the city and, in an act of revenge, kill Shechem, Hamor, and all the men. They rescue Dinah and leave with all the city's goods. When Jacob finds out, he is alarmed, fearing retaliation from the other neighboring tribes and the loss of security for his family, but Simeon and Levi defend their actions, stating that their sister should not be treated like a prostitute. Subscribe to the channel, and stay with us until the end for a message that can change your life. Genesis 34 raises complex questions about justice, honor, and revenge, themes that resonate deeply in Scripture. The aggression against Dinah provokes an intense reaction from her brothers, highlighting the importance of family honor and the protection of loved ones. While the desire to defend Dinah is understandable, Simeon and Levi's extreme violence raises questions about the role of justice and revenge. Jacob's response, expressing concern about the possible repercussions, suggests that he realizes the need for balance and prudence in dealing with other people. The narrative reveals the consequences of thoughtless actions and the importance of seeking justice in a fair and measured manner. Although Simeon and Levi wanted to protect their sister's honor, their actions put the entire family at risk, a reminder that reckless retaliation can have devastating consequences. Genesis 34 invites us to reflect on the balance between justice and mercy and the importance of responding to life's challenges with discernment. The story in Genesis 34 is set in the city of Shechem, one of the oldest and most significant cities in Canaan. Excavations at Tel Balata, identified as ancient Shechem, reveal that it was a heavily fortified city with structures dating back to the Bronze Age. These discoveries indicate that Shechem was an influential and politically active city, situated in a fertile valley and strategically positioned on trade routes that connected various regions of ancient Canaan. In ancient times, alliances between clans and cities were commonly sealed through marriage, such as the one proposed by Hamor to unite Shechem with the family of Jacob. The practice of requiring circumcision as a sign of alliance or inclusion is also recorded in other Middle Eastern cultures, where rituals were often used to formalize pacts between different groups. The presence of weapons and defensive structures found at Shechem reinforces the idea that the city was prepared for confrontation and was a respected force in the region. This archaeological context provides insight into the cultural and political norms that shaped Jacob and his family's interactions with the inhabitants of Canaan. Genesis 34 is one of the most challenging chapters for theologians and scholars, who grapple with the complex dynamics of honor, violence, and justice. The violence against Dinah and her brother's response raise questions about the limits of the right to revenge and familial protection. Many scholars interpret Simeon and Levi's actions as an overreaction and recklessness, reflecting the depth of their grief and anger at such a personal violation. At the same time, the chapter also highlights Jacob's weakness and lack of control over his sons, who acted independently without his guidance. The requirement of circumcision as a condition of marriage raises theological questions, as something that was sacred to God's people was used as a pretext to deceive and exact revenge on the men of Shechem. God's silence in the narrative is significant because it allows readers to contemplate the consequences of human actions and the need to seek true divine justice rather than relying on emotions and the desire for retaliation. This chapter is a profound reflection on moral choices and the impact of human actions on the course of history. Archaeological discoveries at Shechem and the surrounding region reveal aspects of social and warfare practices that contextualize the Genesis 34 narrative. Excavations at Tel Balata, the site of ancient Shechem, show that the city had thick walls and fortified gates, indicating its military and strategic importance. Pottery, weapons, and jewelry found there suggest a prosperous society that was well connected with other regions of ancient Canaan. Covenant practices, marriage, and rituals such as circumcision were common in Canaanite and Mesopotamian culture, where intermarriage was an effective way to form pacts and strengthen political relationships. Cuneiform tablet discoveries at Mari and Nuzi, for example, record marriage agreements that were intended to unite powerful families and seal pacts between clans. Weapons found at Shechem, including spears and swords, reflect a readiness for defense and conflict, suggesting that the city was a center of local power. These archaeological finds provide a realistic look at the norms and practices that influenced the decisions of Jacob, his sons, and the people of Shechem. The story of Dinah in Genesis 34 raises important questions about justice, honor, and the dangers of unbridled revenge, themes that continue to be relevant today. Dinah's assault and her brother's response to it are a reminder of the challenges of protecting the dignity and well-being of loved ones in a world full of injustice. Jacob's avoidance of direct conflict and fear of the consequences reflect the need for discernment in the pursuit of justice. In many modern societies, we still see families and communities struggling to balance protection and forgiveness, especially in situations of serious offense. The actions of Simeon and Levi are a warning about the dangers of allowing anger and revenge to override reason and wisdom, leading to devastating consequences for the entire community. Genesis 34 challenges us to reflect on the role of forgiveness, true justice, and prudent responses to challenges. Today, the lessons from this chapter inspire discussions about restorative justice and the importance of facing difficult situations with balance and responsibility, seeking a peace that honors the dignity of all people involved. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and share it. And remember, each day is a new opportunity to call on the name of the Lord. Until next time.